All right, welcome back. We are going to be tying Spencer Higas SOS, and we're going to do this in the Perdigon style. SOS standing for Saving Our Skins. It's been a staple of mine probably for the last 8 or 9 years. Just a great pattern, but one of the things I've been doing with a lot of my patterns, nymph patterns in particular, is just trying to thin them down to allow a greater sink rate. Instead of having to rely on split shot, as you may have to do in some cases, especially when you're fishing bulkier, fluffier flies with more fin, fur, and feathers, here we're just going to create a very slender, slimmed out version of the SOS. Tie this in a variety of different colors, different schemes, but this is a size 16, probably my favorite size for my home waters, with a 2.5 millimeter bead. We're using an 8/0 thread. You can definitely use a 6/0. But normally 8/0 is what I use for basically anything from a size 14 down to an 18. For the tail, we have a few fibers, 5 or 6 fibers, black fibers. It can be hen hackle, or in this case, it can be CDL, Coke de Leon, for our tail. Cut that. Next is going to be our rib. I use an extra small size for basically all my ribbing. Just gives the fly a little bit more segmentation. And also, you can scale this down, meaning that you can tie or buy 3 or 4 different thicknesses or versions of the ultra wire. So if you're tying a larger fly, you can go down to a size small, or if you're going to like really large, like a size 12, you can use a brassy size. But for me, I'm just trying to basically eliminate a lot of the crap that's in my fly tying bin. So for that matter, I tie basically all my ribs now with just an extra small. Just do one loop over there, pull that so it's nice and flush, right at the base, and then with our 8/0 thread, we're gonna be making touching wraps all the way up to the bead. That's our body. Now with the ultra wire, we're gonna rib this. Again, the ultra wide, the extra small, just gives the fly more segmentation, which I kind of dig, all the way up to the bead. Once, twice, we're gonna thin that down. For the wing case, this is medium holographic tinsel. And again, people can scale this down. You can do a larger for larger flies and then smaller for smaller flies, but just like with the ultra wire, I'm just trying to eliminate a lot of crap that I have in my toolkit. So that medium size holographic tinsel I use on everything from a size 14 all the way down to an 18. We're going to secure this, build a small little hump of black thread, create more of a thorax, if you will. Tie that in. Now last, or a couple steps from the last step, is taking Flashabou, and for this size fly, we're going to use 2 strands of Flashabou or crystal flash. And we're going to tie this in perpendicular to the hook shank, using a couple figure 8 tie-ins like you would for trying to tie in some dumbbell eyes. Just lock that in. And if you want to, you can trim the legs right now. Usually these legs are about 2/3 the length of the hook shank. Just need kind of 2 short stubby legs sticking out. For the wing case, we're going to fold this wing case over, tie this down, secure this, make sure those legs are pulled back. Once, do that 3 times there. Trim that. We're going to do a whip finish. Now, I did get an email a few weeks ago from a gentleman asking why in some cases I use a single whip finish, as I'm doing here, versus times where I'm using a 2 or maybe in some cases a 3-time whip finish. And I guess a lot comes down to the materials you're using. There are some threads that tend to be slipperier, some tend to hold their knots. So in this case, what I'm tying with is the uni thread. Uni tends to be a little wound tighter, kind of more like a rope, holds a whip finish really well. So usually when I'm doing a uni thread, I use a single whip finish. If I'm tying with a thread like an ultra thread, which tends to be flatter, a little more slipperier, I will often use a 2-time or use a 2-turn whip finish. So there's that. Now last step is you can use a UV resin, or what I do, because I'm in no hurry usually. I'm not at a trade show right now. I'm at home. I have all the time in the world to let these flies dry. I'm going to take some Sally Hansen's hardest nail polish. And, you know, don't get me wrong, I still use the UV resin. It's quick and easy, but for cost efficiency, the stuff is expensive. And quite frankly, I like the way this clean, glossy look of the nail polish looks right here. You just gotta let it set. So normally what I'm gonna do here, this is in the vise, create a bead and kind of work that bead all the way down and just kind of let that just kind of marinate and dry. But I'll often just do a dozen, 2 dozen flies, put them onto a piece of foam, and then after I'm done tying all my flies, then I will apply the nail polish to all the flies after and just let them set, or sometimes put them in front of a fan and so forth. But right here is just a slender, slimmed out version of the popular SOS pattern created by my friend Spencer Higa. But again, you can tie this in a variety of different colors, different sizes, but this size 16 is kind of the money fly for me, especially on my home waters. So again, thanks for watching. I'm hoping, you know, now that summer's upon us, I'm done with classes at Penn State, starting to do a few or less guide trips. I'm going to have a little bit more time to do some of these tutorials, both behind the vise and then also on the water here in the coming weeks. So thanks for watching and have a great day.